Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. And well, this is my second post in this week, which is actually quite consistent for someone like me who doesn't really post a lot. But I guess I'm getting back into YouTube finally, which it's a pretty big like break. I guess it's been around, I think like an year that I last posted. I feel no, I did post one video recently, but then before that I hadn't posted for a whole year. But yeah, finally back into YouTube. I got a new tripod, so I guess now I can do this. Like, just check this out. Okay, well, I can just like switch the color of lighting. That's pretty cool. Okay, we're gonna just keep to white for now. And today's tutorial is going to be how to draw, sketch, color, line art, render here. It's gonna be complete hair tutorial. Okay, male, female. We're gonna be covering both sections. But so, like always, I like to keep my tutorials pretty organized because I don't really have a script. I never write a script, so these are just freestyle the whole way. So we'll just write male over here for me to teach you on how to do this, and then we'll go on to the second page where we will write female. Paper is pretty much A4 size printer paper. The materials used are around the cheapest pencil colors I could find, the cheapest pen I could find, and the cheapest markers I could find. So it's very pretty much around the cheapest materials we can get. And with that, I feel like it's pretty much just we should just get into it. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so the first thing we have to learn about when we are going to draw hair is that hair, like most things in art, follow the structure of the head. All right, let me just elaborate on that a little bit. I hope this pencil is like pretty light, but I hope you can see the sketch. Let me just check. No, you can definitely not see the sketch, can you? I'll be using this pencil then. It's a bit darker. Yeah, I think you can see it now. And okay, so assume this is like a head, all right? This back area of the head, this is supposed to be the neck, all right? So this back area of the head, this is not a forward facing head, this is a backwards facing head, okay? This back area of the head, this is like called, I think, the vortex. This area is where all the hair stem from, like this is where the hair come out from. So when drawing, we have to keep that this is the area where all hair should start and somewhat end up in. With that said, let us I'll try to apply this knowledge real quick. So we'll be sketching a head over here real quick. Shouldn't take too long. Just a really simple head, just to give you a feel of what he drawing here should feel like. Now that we have the applied knowledge of what our vertex is and how hair starts from that area. So after I've okay, so now that we have drawn this super simple head real quick, let us apply that knowledge. So vortex is on the back side of the head, right? That means all hair should stem from there. So we should just be able to make these imaginary lines, and let's just follow these lines up real quick. Okay, one strand over here, one strand over here, one strand over here. Cool. This is the female section, I think. So we'll just, yeah, now it's a male section. You know what I mean. This is now a male section. Lol. So, following the vortex, see how all these lines are going back inside the head. They are all starting from the vortex, and they even go back inside towards the vortex. That's gonna be a major thing when we are gonna be drawing here. And I know this sketch looks pretty messy and it's pretty bad, but trust me, I know what I'm doing. This just isn't supposed to be the cleanest sketch anyway. This is just supposed to tell you how hair works. This isn't really supposed to be an actual representation of how I draw hair. This is just supposed to be this is just supposed to be an application of the knowledge that how what happens when you start the hair from the vortex. We got that idea in mind. All right, then we can move on to the next step, which is that all hair should always be broken down into simpler shapes. Like for example, you see, or we're gonna go back from this, okay? You see, if you want like a really big chunk of hair, you shouldn't just go in and start drawing every single hair strand. No, that's gonna be bad. You should draw a general shape, then go in and fine art the fine line that big shape. Now Now I always like to provide a representation of what I'm saying in an actual artwork. So I'm going to zoom in a little over here for you to see. Now we have two knowledges. Okay, now we have two pieces of advice I've given you. Here starts from the vortex. Here can be broken down into simpler shapes. Cool, right? I hope you can see that. I think you can. Wait, let me just dim the light up so you can see that a bit better. uh, I don't think that helped. That definitely did not help. Let me just then. Okay, this lighting shows it the best. Okay, so we have two pieces of knowledge by now, that hair can be broken down into simpler shapes and that all hair starts from the vortex point. Cool, right? Now let's just apply this knowledge up over here real quick. Let me just sketch out a really, I don't think like neat. We can say just a pretty simple head shape, just for us to apply this knowledge at. And okay, cool. Okay, that skull shape looks pretty cursed. But you know what? This is really supposed to be a head tutorial. This is just supposed to be uh, a hair tutorial. So you know what? You get the point. It pretty much starts from over here. Okay, you get the point. It's a pretty ugly head shape. It's a pretty bad looking one, but we're gonna draw here, not the skull. Also, I feel like I should probably erase this section. Wait for a minute, real quick. Okay, I'm back with an eraser and I just wanna erase this section up just so you can really see what I'm doing over here. This is just gonna really show you how hair works, okay? So I'm gonna draw the vortex in. Not that I need it, but just to show that all hairs does start from vortex. I'm just really trying to demonstrate the two tips I've already given. Sorry. Okay. Now we have a cleaner head shape. We can apply our both knowledge pieces, okay? Here starts from the vortex. Here can be broken down into simpler shapes. Cool. Okay, I can break it down to this one big clump over here. That's pretty cool, right? Now I can also break it down over here into this other bigger clump. That's really good too. Now I can also break it down over here into this big clump. And finally I can break it down into this little clump, this like small clump of here, and a little bit over here just for some details. And then we can erase all this just so I can show you something real quick. You notice how all these strands we have broken down the hair to, they all start and end at they all start from the vertex. Like this start from the vertex, this starts from this big clump starts from the vertex, all of these start from the vertex. And now that vortex, I think I don't even think that's what it's called. I just gave it a name on the point, but I think that's what it's called. I just think so. Now that we have gotten that, we can simply erase those big shapes just to go in for the finer lines. All right, we can add a strand of hair over here, and let's just see how it will look. Let's just because I want to show you how it will look. I'm just gonna draw in some hair real quick, just to show you how those big chunks can then, after being broken down into finer hair shapes, how they will look. Some fine lines over here. Now, ignoring the fact that this guy pretty much has the average the average isekai protagonist black hair. Now, ignoring that fact, we can kind of see how these tips will help us if we apply them. You see, this hair is already looking pretty good, pretty neat in my opinion. This male hair, I feel like the female tips. I'm gonna give you a few more female hair tips because they, of course, act pretty differently than male hair. But as you can see, these these look pretty cool, pretty goddamn cool. This already looks pretty good in my opinion. Now we have applied two pieces of advice and our hair has went from this to this. Now we can of course apply another tip from over here. Here, this is going to be my third advice I'm giving you. And of course there will be a demonstration. That is that hair follows the structure of the head. If you look over here, you can see that the skull should have, and the skull is supposed to be right here. I'm gonna just go in with a pencil to really darkly show you where the skull was supposed to be. The skull was supposed to be here, but the hair is pretty much just not really following the structure. This can be a bit more leaning towards this side. This our section can be a bit more leaning towards this side just to fit the general shape of the skull, and it would have looked way better. So why not, let's just go in and apply our last advice and see how our hair would look. Once again, I'm just gonna be sketching this really uh, I guess a pretty simple head shape. And I feel like this is something I should tell you while I'm sketching this head shape, that when we are drawing here, uh, the I can say like the volume is going to depend differently upon the characters we are drawing. Like of course a character with really thick hair would have a lot more volume in their hand, and that would affect how we draw them. And this is just supposed to be a general representation. Characters have a lot of weird heads and a lot of weird hairs, and I can't go into every single one. So just so you know, there are going to be some exceptions to the general rules I'm telling. This is I've said it many times on this channel, but this is just supposed to be a general representation of what to do. This isn't supposed to be a rule. This isn't supposed to be an always follow thing. This is just supposed to be a general guidance in a way on what you can do. These are things that beginners should practice, and hey, once you have learned the rules, why not go ahead and break them? Yeah, yeah, there are no general, there are no set in stone rules in art. You can always break the rules. So yeah, I'm just saying there's something I should put out there. And also that when we are going to be drawing here from different perspectives, the knowledge I've given will always apply. But just so you know, you will have to learn perspective and stuff. Tutorial on that coming out soon as well. Hopefully, if I get enough time. But I'm just saying, tutorial on that coming out soon, hopefully as well. But yeah, now that I have gotten down, now that I've drawn a head shape, let's just apply our three knowledge pieces once again. Here starts from the vertex. Cool. This is gonna be the vertex point. Here can be broken down into simpler shapes, and here always follow the structure of the head. So we can follow the structure of the head over here and make this strand like this, and connect it back. Here it has to follow the structure of the head, because like this is like going down, so this is also going down like again within the shape. And this area doesn't really have to follow any general rules. This can just be like that. And the big chunks, again of course we can't forget the big, that hair can be broken down into some bigger chunks. Of course this area over here, you see this is like this, so the hair is also following its structure like that. So yep, that all you see, all these tips are coming together to make these really cool looking hairstyles. And once again, we have gotten the general shapes down, right? Now let's just erase the outer areas, like the inner wall, inner mesh things, and then we can lighten this whole shape up for the final details, just to see how our hair would look. All right, now let's just start in with the fine details. This strand over here, this strand over here, this strand like this. This follows the structure, and another strand. Also make sure to just randomize these strands. They aren't really following any general pattern, of course, unless we're drawing a character with a really combed hairstyle. This again ties into what I said previously, that different kind of hair are drawn differently, and different hairstyles are drawn differently. This is just supposed to be like a pretty average hairstyle. A lot of hairstyles in anime does look like this, so this is just supposed to be a pretty average average of all the hairstyles that can be drawn into one generalized hair form. And as you can see, we have improved our hair drawings once again. A little small mouth. Okay, we have improved our hair drawings once again. Notice how we went from this to this. Pretty gosh darn cool, right? Now, of course, as I said, I'm going to be teaching you how to like line art the hair as well. So, this is something I've said in the previous tutorial as well, and I'm going to say it here again. Always treat your line art as just another sketch layer. Don't treat it as something that's like has to be perfectly clean, and these final lines with a sense of finality in them. Don't treat it like that. Treat it like another layer of sketch. Over here, as you can see, I'm not even using a sketch. I'm basically just going in for the line art, just to show you that it can be treated as pretty much a sketch, and it will look pretty good. I'm drawing the three quarters perspective pretty much, as you can see. for this whole tutorial. This is just supposed to like create a sense of consistency so you can learn better. But yeah, these tips I've given, they apply from pretty much most perspectives anyway, so just putting that out there. And yeah, so now let's apply our tip that here can we have to see it as another sketch layer. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna draw this really rough strand, and this isn't clean at all, as you can see. And let's just see how it will look. I'm drawing this here again. Okay, I'm drawing this here again. I've drawn here, so let's just follow this clump. And of course, just treating it as another sketch here. You can see I messed up there. I don't like this over here. I'm just gonna change that. Let's just see how that would look in the end. Of course, now that I've noticed this guy got pretty volumized here, which is something I find pretty cool, that the hair I chose to draw is a volumized hair, which is pretty much around the easiest type to draw. If you want to draw thinner hair, that's gonna be a lot harder. Okay, that's on me. I should have gone for a harder hairstyle. But you know what? This is a beginner friendly tutorial. Okay, this is where we teach of all skill levels. So it's gonna be a pretty general tutorial. But yeah, as you can see, if we treated it as just another sketch layer, this turns out pretty damn good. Now, of course, final thing, how to render and color male here before we can move on to the female. I feel like I've written male over here, so I'm just gonna change it to female real quick. So now I'm gonna just draw off camera a real quick sketch of hair. So 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so a pretty general hair down, a wolf cut kind of structure, and then we'll just see how we can color them and render them. This is just the way I do it, but most people I think would find it really helpful. Even most art style, this is the hair color, this is like the hair, that's how it's rendered. This is just like a pretty general rule, a pretty general way to do it. So always grab your lightest color, like the lightest color you have, and just begin to roughly color. This has to follow the lines because it will look weird in traditional. Of course, in digital you can just go ahead and erase that. So if you're doing digital art, this does apply. Just that you can, of course, like make a bit more mistakes than us traditional artists. And even traditional artists, they can use a eraser. I'm just saying this because the paper looks a bit messy after that. Keep this highlight streak in the middle going. Don't color in that because cool, right? We got the structure down. All right, good. Now take in a slightly darker shade of what we have just used and use that as a definer. Like draw in some rough hair strands like this, and like like this. As you can see, this is just supposed to be a defining thing, like the darker area just to show the shadow. And I mean, I should have shown the whole process, but I don't really think anyone got the attention span for that, at least not as much as people in my audience. As much as I know, you already don't got that good attention span. I got already pretty low, a pretty low rate of the amount of people who even watch the full video. But yeah, then we can grab a slightly darker shade of the initial color we've used and use it just to blend that whole thing in. I'm just gonna skip this area once again. But you know what, actually no, you're gonna suffer through this with me. What do you think? I'm just gonna let you skip the whole thing. I mean, you kind of can, but hey, if you wanna stick around, sure, just do. Come on, there we go. It's done. See, that easy to stick around. Not that hard at all. Pretty cool, right? All right. Lastly, go ahead, grab one of your favorite markers. Well, like this is supposed to be the darkest shade, so just grab the darkest shade you can and begin defining your hair just a bit more. Add some variety. Don't follow any general lines. Don't follow any rule. Just add some variety here and there at the darkest areas. This is just here is all about adding variety, a little bit variety over here and there, a little bit differentiation in tone. This is just gonna make your art look a bit better. Then grab a slightly lighter shade of the same color and add a bit more variety. Of course, finally, we can. Oh damn! You really. Oh god, my fault, my fault. Let me just real quick. I know that this is just a pretty big blunder on my side. Damn it! I should have shown it like this, a bit darker, so you can just see the colors up a bit more saturated. Damn it! This really is my fault. All right, I hope you can see it now. What I'm trying doing. Okay, sorry, my fault. should have done it a bit better. Sorry, I guess. Okay, I hope you can see it a bit better now. Okay, there we go. Now that we have colored all this in, finally go ahead and grab like this kind of color, like just a color in general, and just go ahead and like draw some rough strands in without keeping in mind like the whole the whole light highlight thing that I told you not to do. Grab ahead your pencil, add in some darker strands just for variety. Go ahead, grab a pen, why not at this point? Draw in some variety. And there we go, we have rendered in some pretty cool looking hair. This is just a messy representation. This is a very messy representation. In fact, this is not actually how you're supposed to do it. I mean, this is how you're supposed to do it, but like, don't do it as rough as me. I'm just speed running through this thing. But if you actually manage to do it right, you can get some pretty amazing hair results. Like, I'm gonna show you an example of what an artwork looks like if you use this method correct. Let me just show you one of my recent artworks just to tell you how good it can look. So okay, so over here we have a recent artwork. What that whole thumbnail you saw, it's an actual drawing I made on paper. It's a physical thumbnail. As you can see, it looks really beautiful if done right. It's a pretty neat method, and I feel like it would work. Just saying. Okay, so now that I've shown you the artwork of how it can look, yeah, of course, you can also add these rough strands in by using a blue pen. That would look pretty cool too, in my opinion. You can always add these in these rough strands. Don't those just look pretty cool, in my opinion? Those just look really cool. Okay, so just saying, this is how your hair is gonna look in the end. As you can see, this is a full-on tutorial on how we have to draw male hair, and we are already around half an hour into the video, 3 minutes minus. I feel like not a lot of people are gonna have the attention span for this, man. My tutorials need to be a bit better edited for people to maintain their attention span. But you know what? We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna skip to the female section, and same thing all over here again. I'm gonna teach you from the very start till the very end, no skips, or full on just raw footage of how to do it. And hey, I hope you have fun learning once again, which you probably would not. Hey, wait, now that I've started this real quick, why not just finish this up? Just adding a bit of variety. I'm sorry, I just get distracted a bit in my tutorials. I just have to. I can't just like leave this just like this. Just gotta add in some. There we go. There we go. This looks pretty cool. All right. Okay, so okay, not a lot of markers bled, which is pretty good. So now we have to go on to the female section, and let's just see how female hair works. Once again, a point from before stands, all hair stands from vortex. Okay, let's just apply that knowledge in on female hair real quick. I'm gonna once again give a full-on guide. I'm not gonna skip over anything. This is a lengthy tutorial, I know, but I can't simply skip things. That's gonna be really bad. I'm gonna give a full-on tutorial on how to do everything. Which is probably why my videos have such a low attention span rate, man. I really should need to learn to edit these better. I'm gonna learn that, okay? I'm gonna learn a bit of editing. I'm gonna learn some light motion for you guys. But just for now, bear with me in this real time footage as we draw a female face. A lot more smoother than a male face, as you can see, but that's a video for anatomy. And yeah, I can't really show anatomy tutorials over here without again the bad attention span rates getting ahead of me. So drawn in this really cool looking female face, and let's just apply our first tip. All hair starts from vortex. Actually, let's just apply all three tips over here just for us to really see how this whole thing works. Because you know what, I feel like I've given you enough. I've given you already given you the three tips you need to draw all here. So why not just go ahead and apply that knowledge over here right now, in one hair sketch. You don't need three different representation of the three rules. Okay, all hair starts from vortex. Okay, cool. This is our vortex point. Then this is gonna be our vortex point because it stems from the back of the hair. This is actually generally located a bit down here because hair is a sphere, as you know, hair is like a sphere, and sphere got a back side as well. So yeah, it's actually in the back, but just for this tutorial I'm gonna say that it starts from over here just to make it a bit more beginner friendly, although I'm probably doing it wrong for the beginner friendly thing. But you know what, I'm just gonna see this. I'm just gonna tell you once again, hair can be broken down into bigger clumps, right? Cool, then let's just break our hair down into these bigger clumps and let's just draw a very emo hairstyle. Lol. Hair can be broken down into bigger sections. Alright, we can just break our hair down into these really big sections, and because it's female hair, we can make it a bit longer by breaking it down into even bigger shapes like this big rectangle down over here. Okay, here's broken down into bigger shapes. Now, how about we simply clean up the scalp as we did with the male hair? Same thing, same tips for following over here. Okay, anatomy of hair is pretty much just the same. Cool. Now we can lighten up these bigger shapes we have drawn just for us to get an idea. We just need an idea of these big shapes. We don't need them fully sketched in. All right. We have. I hope you can still see them, but I have pretty much lightened them up. Once again, let's go in for the finer sketch details. One strand over here. I always like to draw these two strands. Okay, if you want to draw in my art style, you can always draw these two hair strands just sticking out, and you're gonna be get this really cool looking hair. I just love that. Okay, I really love that. Uh, then we can of course draw in these other strands. We have already drawn the big shapes of them, so just break them down. It's pretty simple, honestly. It's pretty simple from over here. And then this big shape we can just break this down like this, and on the other side too. I've noticed something pretty cool, but if you can see about female hair, it's almost got like these two division sections. This is like the first section on top of the hair, and the lower section on the lower side of the hair. This is just something I've noticed, and it's pretty cool in my opinion. So yeah, I'm just putting that out there. If that helps you, you can always just divide these into two big shapes, like just the whole scar. There's the whole this section, and then the lower section. And if that helps you, hey man, whatever flows your boat. So yep, we have drawn in some cool details inside those hair, and there we go. We have gotten down another sketch of the hair. We just followed the same things we did with the male hair. We simply started all our hair from vortex, but because I've given away the male hair a lot more time, I'm gonna just draw in another one just to make sure it really just like, I guess it really just cements that whole information right into your brain. A front facing angle this time. I had to break the consistency by not drawing the three quarters view, but we'll just have to do this just for a bit more variety. I'm getting bored of drawing the same 3 by 4 hairstyles in three quarters hairstyle. I'm getting bored, man. Okay, let's just draw a whole different hairstyle this time. All hair starts from vortex. All hair can be broken down into simpler shapes. Hair got two sections if we are drawing for female. Uh, Clean up the scalp. It's pretty much just a routine at this point. Honestly, it's pretty much just, if you get the hang of it, it's gonna be pretty much just muscle memory at that point. You're just gonna always know how to follow a series of steps. Lighten up the hair. Lighten up like the big shapes. I mean, not the hair. Lighten up the big shapes. Go ahead. Add in some. Add in the strands. Of course, these two strands I always like to do in my art style over here. Add in the big strands. A pretty messy hair this time, I guess. A pretty messy style, but I liked it. I like this kind of hair really. This can be left a lot longer this time, like this nearly hits in the whole shoulders. And yeah, just another really cool hairstyle, gotten in down clean. You can of course clean this up in your sketch. You can, if you like cleaner hair, just clean this up a little bit. And that's pretty much how we draw female hair for the most part. I would have loved to go in for another representation over here, honestly. So I'm actually just gonna draw another hairstyle just for you to really get that mindset. And this time we're gonna go for the three-part view again. I think I should give one from the back as well after this, but I don't feel like the back is the hardest view from to draw the hair from. It's pretty much around the easiest in my opinion. So I don't think that really needs a whole drawing for it to be explained. But hey, if you want, I can make a whole tutorial on that. I can actually make a whole tutorial, another tutorial, part two on how to draw hair. If you want that, comment that down below. I don't really get a lot of comments, so I'm gonna be pretty much reading every single one I get. And hey, that's gonna be pretty cool, man. You can always just ask for a tutorial, and you're almost guaranteed to get it. Cool. We've got it in the 3 by 4 view. All here start from vortex. Okay, we're gonna do a different hairstyle this time. All right, we're gonna do a different hairstyle. How about this time we go for okay, I got an idea. How about this time we go for a bangs kind of hairstyle, like those Asian bangs hairstyles. Yeah, like I'm gonna show a photo on the screen. Oh, this is something I got. I think I just noticed that in the previous video I uploaded like 2 days ago. In that one, I didn't like edit the whole thing. So in a lot of sections, I say now I'm gonna show a picture of this thing, and then nothing shows up on the screen because I didn't even bother editing the picture in. So yeah, sorry for that. It's pretty funny. Okay, it's pretty funny in my opinion. All right, our hair starts from vortex point down. Let's just draw in those bangs then real quick. You know what? Let's go for curtain bangs. Honestly, that would look pretty cool in my opinion. How we break down curtain bangs? Well, we start by breaking down these shapes down into the hair just for us to get a general perception. You know what, I told you it's going to be the same routine with these with the hair. We just get the general structure in, then we draw in the actual thing. It's the same. Okay, so we get the general shape in. Let me just real quick draw the general shape in of that hairstyle. All right, cool. The hair follows the structure. So as you can see, if the skull is like this, the hair is going down like this. I think I missed this in the previous two hairstyle, but I think you know the tip yourself at this point. Of course, it is the inner messiness of the scalp. Uh, Lighten up those surrounding big shapes, and let's just go in and add the fine details. Of course, with with bangs, you can notice that they can be drawn a lot more differently because they don't really have all those messy strands we are doing. So bangs are gonna be drawn a bit differently. They're gonna be drawn in these like cuts inside them, just to add that variety we could get with all the, I guess, all the rough hair strands in the previous two hairstyles we have drawn. Okay, the previous two are pretty much the same hairstyle, but you know what, you get the concept what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's something we can do in real quick, and there we go. A whole new different hairstyle drawn in pretty easy, pretty gosh darn easy in my opinion. I like to draw these little mouths. I'm sorry. Okay. All right, we have finished the sketching section of the female hair. I hope you got in the tips. It's pretty much the same as male hair, just a bit different in how the hair can be kept a lot more longer. But yeah, pretty much the same thing as the male hair. Alright, now we can go on to the line art section. Honestly, these tips are pretty much the same as the male hair. It's almost identical in a way. You have to treat it as another layer of sketch. Don't go in for too clean lines. Just leave that room for messiness in, and you're gonna get really cool hair. Just to demonstrate over here, I'm not even gonna use a sketch. I'm not even gonna use a sketch. I'm just gonna go straight in, and pretty much my line art is my sketch. Okay, my line art is my sketch, and you'd see the hair that turns out. It would actually look pretty okay. It would look pretty all right in my opinion. And then same bangs kind of hairstyle I'm doing over here. As you can see, it turned out a pretty nice way to line art them. I think I should make a whole different tutorial on how to line art in general. I feel like that's gonna be a really cool video idea. And if you want that, once again, go ahead, comment it. I'm reading every comment, man. I'm pretty bored. And so we've gotten the hair down. Then we can of course try to sketch in the same messy hairstyle we have drawn, just to get across the message that the hair can in fact be drawn messy. And honestly, hair should be drawn messy in a way. Hair is always I feel like a pretty common mistake a lot of artists make when drawing hair is that they try to make the hair too combed, too clean, too perfect in a way, which is just honestly like not really something you'd see in real life, and that's why it looks uncanny. In real life, hair, no matter how straight, no matter how well combed, it's stubborn. It breaks into small sections. It falls into these clumps, and it's just never always perfectly clean. It always has that a room of messiness. Even in the most clean hairstyle like the bangs, you can see that this area it's formed a bit of clump, and that's what makes hair look natural, because it just falls into that clumps, and our brains recognize it as how we see hair from real life. And it just fills in that room for uncanniness. And that's how we draw hairstyles. We take inspiration from real life, and that's also a good point on that you should also always go to Pinterest or any website you like for hair references. Don't Okay, actually you can follow anime references, but I always recommend people to follow real life references. Like, look at people of real life, look at different hairstyles. Honestly, I've recently gotten into hair studies, and I've never looked at the hair same. There are just so much variety, so many types to draw from, so many styles to pick from, that it's almost overwhelming in a way. So yeah, go to Pinterest, find some references. Don't just keep on drawing one hairstyle. Switch between like really clean bangs, then go for braids, then go for a messy kind of hairstyle, then go for a wolf cut, then go for a mullet. Just keep drawing these random hairstyles until you get really good at drawing any hairstyle, and after that the next step would be to invent your own hairstyle. Okay, I sidetracked a lot over here. As you can see, the line art section, as you can see, the whole tip I gave about line art being a second layer of sketch is true, as these hairs has turned out pretty much good in a way. And final thing, once again, I guess, how to render hair. Okay, I think I feel like I'm gonna have to turn the page sideways, and I'm just gonna draw in a hairstyle real quick so we can render it together. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, so one terribly edited and cut later, and we have a female here. I think I should really improve my editing, man. This just looks so bad. But you know what? Let's go on with it. Let's just get in what I was trying to say. Okay, so how to render here? This time let's go for a lot more, I guess, a lot more warmer tone. Maybe we can go in for an orange red kind of tone. Maybe, you know what? I feel like that would be pretty cool. So once again, as I told you how we render here, we leave that streak of hair light and we color in the rest of the hair with the base tone, like the lightest light we can imagine. This is for transitional purposes later. Get the lower side in, get the upper side in, leave in that streak of hair. Cool. Now since we have used orange, a darker color in this opinion would be red, so let me go grab my red real quick. Okay, I've gotten my red, and now we can, just like how we did with that, let's just use it to define in a lot of the darker shadows on the hair. You want to watch the whole skip thing? Sure, watch it. But I'm just gonna say, if you want to skip over, just skip over the whole thing. You can just skip over it watching. But hey, if you want to watch that, you can watch that, and maybe you can absorb some knowledge. Maybe you can just learn something from watching me. And I feel like that's a pretty good way to learn. You can always watch someone do it, and it's just something your brain naturally proceeds to get something out of. Remember, your brain is like it's like a sponge. It absorbs all this information in, whether it will be from watching or from doing things itself. And mostly it's from doing things itself, but even watching can sometimes really help you. Okay, so we have gotten that whole thing in. Pretty cool. We have gotten the basic tones in, basic two tones in, and go ahead and grab the darker shade of the two. Let's, you know what? Let's just go for a for this color. This like this brown. I think that would look really cool over here. Oh, okay, my marker's dried up. We'll go for this green just to add the hairstyle highlights. Cause actually works weird, man. I can't really explain it, but yeah, just know that this will look pretty good. Okay, I feel like I've run out of this color as well, but I'm gonna have to just push it to do some of more work. Also, I didn't really mention this before, but you guys knew I'm colorblind. So if I take the wrong name of a color, I'm sorry. I can't really see colors like you. I have a lot of confusion between like red, blue, orange, purple, all the warm colors. But my personal medical issues aside, you can now grab a lighter tone of the color and just go ahead and make this transition. Of course, as I told you, this is all about all the getting that variety in there. The variety will always make it look good. And now that we have added a bit of that variety in, why not do the same thing as we did before? Grab in those dark colors, uh, make these strands in, get these strands in there. Grab your pencil, get these dark strands in there. Grab the pen, get those dark strands in there. And finally, grab the darkest color you've got. Maybe we can go for even black at this point, honestly. Even that won't look bad if you want to do that. And add in some highlight on this top section. I mean, add in some shadow on this top section. I'm losing my mind. I've been talking for like 41 minutes by this point, you know. I've been talking non-stop. But yeah, as you can see, we got that thing in and here rendered. Yeah, looks pretty good, I guess. That pretty much wraps up this tutorial, honestly. I hope you learned something new. Just tried my best to explain all the hair types, the hair colors, and how to render them. And it took me a lot of time. This video didn't really follow a script, but I still think did a pretty good job at explaining most of the things I wanted to get across. If you like the video, then go ahead, like it, subscribe so I can make higher quality videos and like learn editing or even hire an editor for myself at a certain point. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out a lot. I'm just a kid trying to make YouTube videos for fun. I'm not doing a lot in life right now. So yeah, if you wanna support and follow along the journey, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, bye bye. See you all. Hopefully later.